Learning how to use idioms and remembering idioms can be very difficult. One way to remember what they mean and remember how to use them is to learn the origin. Why is this idiom what it is? Why does it mean this? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to teach you 4 common English idioms and teach you not only how to use them, but where they come from, why they are what they are. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to give it a like and also subscribe to see future videos. And now, let's get into it. When it comes to learning idioms, the interesting thing is that there's usually a reason that it is what it is. Whether that reason matters depends on the type of learner you are, right? What is the origin of this idiom? It doesn't always make sense. It's not always obvious. We're going to explore a few. And I'm going to suggest that you decide whether you're the type of learner that benefits from knowing the origins or not. And if not, it's okay. But if so, you might find that knowing the reason why an idiom is called what it's called can actually help you remember it. If you're a sort of visual learner, then I would suggest that the origin can help you create a little movie in your head that's going to help you remember the meaning of it and the idiom itself, right? Again, if that's the type of learner you are. Personally, it helps me to know as much as possible about something that I'm trying to learn, because then I can kind of look at it from different angles. So we're going to be exploring Bite the Bullet, Break the Ice, Saved by the Bell, and Turn a Blind Eye. And again, we're going to be looking at the origins of these idioms because, well, they are interesting. It's quite interesting. But when we're going through these, I want you to try to make little movies in your head if you can and see if that helps this idiom stick. So why don't we get started with Bite the Bullet? Okay, so let's start with Bite the Bullet. When you hear Bite the Bullet, what do you think? Well, obviously, there's a bullet, like from a gun, and I can bite it. Hopefully, it doesn't explode or something. Right. Yes, that's right. That's what it comes from. But it's more historical. So before we had general anesthesia, when you would cut off a leg or something, having your leg cut off would be extremely, extremely painful. So, and I don't know if this is only from British soldiers, but in general, this comes from soldiers who needed to have limbs amputated, usually, right? So, generally speaking, if you got shot in the leg or something, or got shot in the arm, you would be at risk of something called gangrene, where it would get infected and become gross. And so, a lot of them had to have that leg or that arm amputated, cut off. Now, if you have anesthesia, that's not going to be that painful. If you don't, they're just going to cut it off. And so you'd bite down on a bullet to deal with the pain, right? So that's where it comes from. But what does it actually mean in everyday normal language? Because we're not usually walking around having our arms and legs cut off, right? Well, generally, this is to face a specific situation bravely. Now, this can be used in a lot of different ways because it could be something very ordinary or could be something fairly huge in your life, right? So here are some examples that we might use. When the budget cuts came, we had to bite the bullet and work with fewer resources. So that means in our company or in our team, right, basically we had this budget and the budget got cut down by, 30% or something. So we have to do the same amount of work with 30% less resources. Wow. So instead of complaining, let's just bite the bullet and figure it out. So it's kind of like saying, let's just do it. Be tough, be strong, like that. That's kind of the feeling we get, right? But it could be something completely different. It could be something very ordinary, like you go to a coffee shop and they don't have your favorite type of milk. Maybe you like to have oat milk in your latte. And you say, oh, can I get an oat milk latte? And they say, I'm sorry, we don't have oat milk. And you say to yourself, okay, I'll just bite the bullet and get almond milk, right? So that's obviously a very ordinary situation, but you wouldn't be wrong to use it in that way. So there's a huge spectrum. But again, our mind can go back to that little movie of seeing the soldier biting on a bullet while their leg is getting cut off, and that might help us remember this particular idiom. Facing a dental appointment without sedation was tough, but I bit the bullet. Sometimes the dentist doesn't use anesthesia to do a cavity. That happened to me once. They said, hey, do you want anesthesia for this small cavity? And I said, well, is there a difference in terms of recovery or something like that? And for whatever reason, they were recommending that I just do the cavity without any anesthesia. And so I said, okay, let's do it. So I just bit the bullet and dealt with the discomfort, right, of having them kind of drill at my tooth without having any anesthesia. I don't remember the exact circumstances there. Okay, let's talk about breaking the ice. To break the ice. Well, it used to be, actually it still is, that ships, there would be a special type of ship called an icebreaker that would, during the winter or during, let's say, in a place where there's ice covering the water, they would have a special thing at the front of the ship to cut through the ice to essentially create a path so that other shipping containers, shipping vessels, and passengers could actually make it through. So they're literally breaking the ice to allow other things to happen, to allow shipping containers to move, to allow passengers to get where they need to go, right? So if you think about it that way and you create that little movie, that's the initial thing that you say, the little joke that you tell, the little comment that you make that is essentially breaking any awkwardness that might exist in a social setting. So to break the ice generally has nothing to do with boats and nothing to do with ice. The ice is when you get to a social event, there's this slight awkwardness that's kind of there, right? That's the ice. To break the ice is to share a funny story that makes everybody laugh, to make a comment that relaxes things. So an icebreaker is, in this case, a thing that then makes everybody feel, oh, okay, relax, so they can actually socialize, so that there's no more awkward tension, right? So to create that relaxed atmosphere, something first has to break the ice. At the beginning of the school year, teachers often play games to break the ice with students. Maybe at the beginning of the year, it's a little awkward. Students are getting to know each other for the first time if they don't know each other already. So play a game that might break the ice. A good joke can break the ice and ease tension during a meeting. So maybe it's a formal meeting, a serious meeting, but you want to break the ice to make people feel like they can contribute and share, and they don't feel uptight and nervous. Okay, but again, play that little movie in your head. We have a couple more that we're going to do here. Saved by the Bell. Actually, there was a TV show in the 90s called Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell, because it was a TV show about students in school, referred to the actual bell that would end class so that you would go to your next class. The bell that rings that says, hey, class is over. And so that it suggests that something awkward is happening, right? Or something difficult is happening, or something maybe that was about to be much worse was happening, and then the bell rings and we can escape the situation. Now, that's often how it's used in ordinary sort of daily situations. But in the 18th and 19th century, people had this worry of being buried alive. And this is because there were some conditions that made people look dead, but they weren't actually dead. And then several days later, they would wake up and found that they would find that they had been buried. That would be pretty scary. And so they had as I understand it, a string connected to them underground, their toe maybe, and the string would go up through the ground connected to a bell. And if the bell would ding, 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 ring, then they would know, oh, actually, they weren't dead. We have to dig the body back up and then find, oh, it's not a body. It's an alive person. We buried an alive person. There are actually several idioms that come from this. One is a dead ringer, and one is saved by the bell. So that's the origin. But how do we use it in our daily lives? Rescued from a difficult situation, a difficult social situation, and it's often a thing that happens that rescues you, right? You're about to you're in a difficult situation, being asked tough questions, and then somebody comes over and says, "Hey, can I borrow you for a second?" Right? Oh, saved by the bell, by someone coming over at the last moment, right? During the interview, I started to stumble on a question, but I was saved by the bell when they announced a break. I was about to basically blow the entire interview, but I was saved by the bell because they said, okay, everybody, time for lunch. Let's resume the interview later. Something like that, right? As the conversation became more and more uncomfortable, the unexpected arrival of a friend saved them by the bell. Now, this is a much less common usage where you hear saved someone by the bell. Oh, I was saved by the bell is common. She was saved by the bell, perhaps, but the friend saved them by the bell. Less common to use it with this structure, less common to use it with this format, but still you will hear it sometimes. Okay, finally, the last one we're going to talk about is to turn a blind eye. To turn a blind eye. Now, in this one, the general origin of this is attributed to an admiral, right? Admiral Nelson, who, this is what I've heard, held a telescope to his blind eye to avoid seeing a signal to withdraw his forces, and that allowed him to continue fighting. So essentially, to put a telescope to an eye that can't see is kind of useless. He's basically saying, I know what they're trying to tell me. I know they're trying to tell me to pull back, to withdraw, but I don't want to because I think what I'm doing is the right thing. And so what I'm going to do is pretend like I looked and didn't see it. So, because he had a blind eye. Whether that's true or not, the way that we use this nowadays is to say, I'm ignoring something, but I'm not doing it by accident. I'm intentionally not looking. I'm intentionally not trying to find out the truth. I'm intentionally saying, I didn't see anything. I'm not looking, right? To allow something to happen. This could be a situation where you have a close friend and you don't want to get them in trouble, and so you pretend you didn't see them do the bad thing because you don't want to see them get in trouble, right? Many people turn a blind eye to the small print when signing a contract. So I know there's some scary things in there, but I'm just going to go ahead and sign it because I need to get this stuff done, right? You could use it that way. She turned a blind eye to her friend's misbehavior, choosing loyalty over principle. So her friends are acting badly. Maybe they're doing something even illegal, and she's just pretending not to notice anything because she cares more about her friendships. She cares more about having her friends and them not being in any trouble or perhaps legal trouble rather than following the law or following some kind of principle that she has. No judgment on that, but that's just a common thing that you'll see. Recently, I've been watching videos. I don't know why I've been on this weird binge where there's this YouTube channel about police officers getting arrested, right? And now it's uniform practice for police officers to wear body cameras. And so there would be, for example, a drunk driver. And the drunk driver will turn out to be a police officer. Uh-oh. And so police officers maybe don't want to arrest other police officers, right? They don't like to do that. And you often hear them say in the video, we have to do it. It's the rules. Cameras are on. And they say, cameras are on, we're recording, cameras are on. What that means is, if the cameras weren't on, they would turn a blind eye and they would just let them go. Okay, I don't want to arrest another police officer. Just go ahead and get out of here. But now that they have to have a body camera, they have no choice but to follow the rules. So they can no longer turn a blind eye. Okay? So those are the common idioms. We talked about biting the bullet, breaking the ice, being saved by the bell, and turning a blind eye. If you have any questions about these, let me know. Try to use them. Try to make some sentences to figure out how to use them. You can also use ChatGPT to get more examples. You can go to the free dictionary and look at examples of each of these there as well. That is a great resource for getting definitions and examples of common idioms. Again, any questions, let me know. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and also get a free course, Natural English Conversations, in the links in the description.